Dear students, this is the second session of 14th chapter, Special Contracts, Contract of Indemnity and Contract of Guarantee. Here we are going to discuss about the different kinds of guarantee and what are the rights of surety. Different kinds of guarantee. Guarantee is mainly classified into two on the basis of purpose and on the basis of transaction. On the basis of purpose, it is again classified into three: for payment of debt, for price, and for honesty. Then on the basis of transaction, guarantee is classified into two. One is simple guarantee and the other one is continuing guarantee. On the basis of purpose, it is classified into three. The very first one is for payment of debt. A guarantee may be for payment of debt or loan. This may be either for an existing debt or for a future debt. That's called a guarantee on the basis of payment of debt. Guarantee given for a payment of debt is called a guarantee for payment of debt. It can be either for existing debt or for future debt. If the guarantee is given for an existing debt, that's called a retrospective guarantee. And if guarantee is given for a future debt, that's called a prospective guarantee. So there are two types of guarantee on the basis of payment of debt. If the guarantee is given for an existing debt, then it's called a retrospective guarantee, and if guarantee is given for a future debt, that's called a prospective guarantee. Guarantee given for payment of debt or loan is called a payment guarantee for payment of debt. It can be either for existing debt or for future debt. If it is given for an existing debt, it's called a retrospective guarantee, and if it is given for a future debt, it's called a prospective guarantee. Then guarantee for price. A guarantee may be for the payment of the price of the goods to be sold on credit. If the guarantee is given for credit transaction, then it's called a guarantee given for price. Then for honesty, a guarantee given for the honesty or good conduct is known as fidelity guarantee. If guarantee is given for the honesty or good conduct of a man, then it's called a guarantee given for honesty. So on the basis of purpose, guarantee is classified into three. For if the guarantee is given for payment of debt, it's called a guarantee given for payment of debt. It can be either for existing debt, that's called a retrospective guarantee. If it is given for a future debt, it's called a prospective guarantee. Guarantee for the payment of a price of the goods to be sold on credit. That means if it is given for a credit transaction, it is called a guarantee for price, and if it is given for the honesty or good conduct, then it's called a guarantee for honesty. Next classification is on the basis of transaction. On the basis of transaction, guarantee is classified into two. The very first one is simple or specific guarantee. When guarantee is given in respect of a single debt or specific transaction, it's called a specific guarantee. Specific guarantee or simple guarantee means it is given in respect of a single debt or a specific transaction. And it comes to an end when the guaranteed debt is duly discharged or the promise is duly performed. For example, X sell 2 cars to Y for rupees 1 lakh on the guarantee of Z. X sells 2 cars to Y for rupees 1 lakh on the guarantee of Z. The price is to be paid within 2 months. Y pays the price within 2 months. So this is a specific guarantee because all the cars are sold by one transaction and this contract will come to an end with the payment of the price. So specific guarantee comes to an end when the guaranteed debt is duly discharged by the person or the promise is duly performed. So guarantee given in respect of a single debt or a specific transaction, then it's called a simple or specific guarantee. The second category is continuing guarantee. When guarantee extends to a series of transactions is called a continuing guarantee. The guarantee given here is intended to cover a number of transactions over a period of time. What is simple guarantee? It is given for a single debt or specific transaction. For a single transaction, right? But continuing guarantee, it extends to a series of transactions. For example, A guarantees the payment to be a general merchant to the amount of rupees 5,000 for any article supplied by him to C from time to time. Again, I am repeating, A guarantees the payment to be a general merchant to the amount of rupees 5,000 for any article supplied by him to C from time to time. This is a contract of continuing guarantee as it extends to any article that may be supplied from time to time to the extent of rupees 5,000. So when guarantee extends to a series of transactions, it is called a continuing guarantee, and when guarantee is given in respect of a single transaction or single debt or specific transaction, it's called a specific guarantee. Revocation of continuing guarantee. So what is continuing guarantee? Continuing guarantee means when where a contract of guarantee extends to a series of transactions, it is said to be continuing guarantee. Then the next topic is revocation of continuing guarantee. A continuing guarantee can be revoked by notice, which means a continuing guarantee can be revoked at any time by the surety in relation to future transaction by giving notice to this effect to this creditor. So a continuing guarantee can be revoked by the surety by giving a notice to the creditor for a future transaction. And after the revocation, the surety is not liable for any transaction made subsequent to the notice of revocation, but he is liable for all previous transactions. Which means after giving the notice, the surety is not liable for future transactions, but he is liable for the transactions that took place before giving notice. The second method is by death of the surety. Absence of any contract to the contrary, the death of the surety revokes a continuing guarantee. Then by modes of discharge of surety, it includes by giving notice, by giving by the death of the surety, by novation, by release of the principal debtor. So these are the different other modes of discharge of surety. So these are the three methods of revocation of continuing guarantee: by giving a notice to the principal, to the creditor, and by death of the surety, by modes of discharge of surety. Rights of surety. The surety gets various rights after making the payment and discharging the liability of the debtor. So there are three types of rights available to a surety. The very first one is against the principal debtor. The second one is against the creditor, and the third one is against the co-sureties. Let me discuss in detail. Rights against principal debtor. Surety has the following rights against the principal debtor. The very first one is right of subrogation. Right of subrogation says that when the principal debtor had defaulted in making the payment or in performing the guaranteed duty, the surety has paid the debt or performed the duty, then the surety is invested with all the rights which the creditor had against the principal debtor. In short, on payment of the guaranteed debt, the surety can sue the principal debtor for recovery of the payments made by him. Right of subrogation says that if the surety had paid the guaranteed debt, then the surety can sue the principal debtor for recovery of that particular debt or particular liability made by paid by him. Then right to indemnity. Right to indemnity says that surety is entitled to recover from the principal debtor whatever amount he has rightfully paid under the guarantee. Surety is entitled to recover all the amount that he has paid under the guarantee. The next right is right against the creditor. These are the rights against the creditor. The very first one is right to securities. The surety is entitled to all the securities which the creditor was holding at that time of guarantee. And on discharge of a full liability, the surety can claim the securities from the creditor. Then right to claim set off says that surety is entitled to claim set off if any which the principal debtor had against the creditor. If there is any claim to be settled between principal debtor and creditor, then surety is entitled to claim that amount. Then right of subrogation means after the surety pays the guaranteed debt or perform the guarantee duty, he becomes entitled to every remedy which the creditor has against the debtor. They can subrogate the amount from creditor. Then right to insist on the creditor suing. At any time after the guaranteed debt has become due and before being called upon to pay, the surety may insist upon the creditor suing the debtor to recover the guaranteed debt. It says that if the guaranteed debt has become due and before being called upon to pay, the surety can insist the creditor for suing against the principal debtor for recovering the guaranteed debt. So the right to insist on creditor suing is also one of the right of the one of the right of surety. So they can they have the right to securities. They can right to claim set off if any amount is paid. Then right of subrogation, and the last right is right to insist on the creditor suing. So right to insist on the creditor suing says that if the payment, guaranteed debt has become due, then the surety can insist the surety can insist the creditor for suing against the debtor for recovering the principal amount, for recovering the guaranteed debt. The third category is rights against the co-sureties. Co-surety means when a debt is guaranteed by two or more sureties, they are called co-sureties. So when a debt is guaranteed by more than one person, they are called co-sureties. The co-sureties is entitled to the following rights against the other co-sureties. They can right to claim contribution. When there are several co-sureties and one of them has been compelled to pay the entire debt of the principal debtor, such a co-surety will be entitled to the following rights against the other co-sureties. Right to claim contribution says that when there are more than one co-sureties and all others are compelling one person to pay the principal debt, to pay the entire debt, then they have the person, that co-surety will be entitled to the following rights. One is co-sureties liable to contribute equally. All co-sureties are liable to contribute equally to the debt. Then liability of co-sureties bound in different sums. Co-sureties who are bound in different sums are liable to pay equally as far as the limits of their respective obligation permit. That means where the co-sureties have agreed to guarantee different sums and they have to contribute equally subject to the maximum amount of guaranteed by each one. All co-sureties are liable to contribute equally. Rights against co-sureties. Second right is release of co-surety. It says that when there are more than co-sureties, more than one co-sureties, then release of one of them does not discharge the others and also does not free the surety, so release from his responsibility to the other sureties. Even though he is discharged, he is liable to contribute to the other co-sureties. Release of one of them does not discharge the others. Then right to share benefits of securities. Co-sureties share the liability as well as the benefit of securities in equal proportion. all co-sureties have to share the benefits and liabilities in equal proportion. So these are the different rights against the co-sureties. The very first one is right to claim contribution, the second one is release of co-surety, and the third one is right to share benefits of securities.